Mandee. I
Katie.
feel like we are coming in hot on two wheels today. Do you feel the same way?
Listen, I've been running on two wheels for about, I don't know, a month, six
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah. Welcome to Find Your Friends, my people, my friends. Welcome. I feel like I'm finally like back from the crazy and I have my schedule back a little bit. I went and got my hair done today.
Looks real
So I
nice.
didn't go work out or anything, but I feel like that's a trade-off.
Yeah.
She did a good job. It's blonde again, not gray. So I feel like that's a good thing. Mandee, we have had so much going on. Our list is long today. So get us started with all the things. I can't wait to hear your take. I have taken to calling the Diamondbacks the Rattlebacks because
Snakes alive, baby.
snakes
Snakes
alive, baby. I
alive.
can't wait to hear all of your things. So talk to me about the baseball.
Okay, so as of last night, the villains, as my friend Casey's son Liam
Yep.
has took to calling them. Shout out to Liam, the next biggest Braves fan to me. Like Liam
Liam,
and
we
I are
love you.
pretty neck and neck there. The villainous Phillies were defeated by the Snakes.
Nothing is so sweet.
Listen, listen, and y'all, it's so funny. I listened to a podcast called Talking Baseball.
Uh-huh.
Um, is that the one? Yeah, Talking Baseball. It's on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays
Mm.
most of the time. And one of the hosts, and those guys are all, well, two of the guys are Yankees fans. One
Mm.
of them is a retired baseball player. And he mostly played for the Twins. So he's a Twins fan. But one of the co-hosts, now that they've become a big podcast, they're still Yankees fans, but they also like
Yeah.
all have picked sort of another team. And Jake picked the Diamondbacks like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something when they stunk. And it was
Well,
just sort of like this running joke of
yeah.
Jake Snakes. And then lo and behold, if Jake Snakes are not in the World Series, and
Jake
we
Snakes made
so
it.
excited about it. So excited
I
about it.
love it.
And they will be playing the Texas Rangers, who also that here's the thing about baseball is you have you have different kinds of owners. You have old families who have owned for a long time. You
Right.
have like the Braves are owned by a corporate conglomerate, they're like Fortune 500, whatever, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so you have different spending levels. You
Yes.
have people willing to spend a lot of money, people
Yep.
not willing to spend any money at all. And the Rangers are a team that went out this past off season and threw down some cash.
Well, they got all that oil money out there in
Right.
Texas.
Right. And so they actually spent it in the off season, and they went and
Okay.
got Jacob DeGrom, and then Jacob DeGrom got hurt. When Jacob DeGrom is good, he's the best pitcher in baseball. And lo
Really?
and behold, if he didn't have to end up getting Tommy John, um, they went and got,
Dang elbows.
yeah. So then at the trade deadline, they picked up Max Scherzer from the Mets. And then lo and behold, if Max didn't get hurt about the time he got there, also a starting pitcher. So they've had to like
Yeah.
cobble this together a little bit. But they have done it. I think I mentioned last week they had hired Bruce Bochy as their manager, and
Mhm.
he is like the old school. He's won 3 World Series with the
Love it.
Giants. And so, he came in with the old school sort of management style. Um, Corey Seager, who used to kick the Braves' butts with the Dodgers, is sort of their big star. If Shohei Ohtani did not exist,
Mm-hmm.
Corey Seager would probably win the AL MVP for this year.
Really?
Like he's been really, really
He's
good.
that good.
Adolis Garcia was the star of the championship series. He's a kid who migrated from Cuba via Japan. Like he had to really work
Wow.
to get here.
Yeah.
Just a great story. It's a kid named Evan Carter who came on. Like I think the big deal for him last year was that he made it to Double-A, and now he's in the World
Now
Series.
he's in the
It's
World freaking Series.
just crazy
I
what
love it.
they've done. I will say I am a little sad because word on the street is that Dusty Baker, who's the manager of the Astros, who lost to the Rangers, word on the street is Dusty's going to retire, that this was Dusty's last season. And Dusty's just a
but
great.
He wasn't caught up in all that Astros mess, was he?
They brought Dusty in after that. Like, he's who they went and got to come in and manage
correct it
out of that. And he did win the World Series last year. It was his first World Series win ever.
So he's got that.
So we loved it. Like, Dusty was the guy standing on deck when Hank Aaron hit his seventh attempt. I'm right.
Okay.
Like, we love Dusty.
Got a little heart for Dusty.
Yeah, we love Dusty. So I do hate that if this was his last season, that's how he went out. But that's okay, because he is the Astros manager, and go Rangers, snakes alive, let's roll. So in the Diamondbacks, you got Corbin Carroll, who's going to win the Rookie of the Year. And Corbin is like as big as a minute. He's a little fella. And he plays in the outfield. They move him around to different spots, and he's got a really bad mustache beard situation going on, probably because he's 12 and he's not old enough to really grow one.
Right.
But he is speedy. He gets on those bases and he will steal it in a hot.
Did he steal a bunch last night?
He did.
Yes. Okay. I know which one that is. Yeah.
He had not been playing well. And then all of a sudden,
very speedy.
He went 3 for 3. He stole a base. He had a sacrifice fly. Like, he was on it last night. So you got to love Corbin Carroll. At one point, I can't remember if it was early in the season or if it was at spring training, his parents dropped him off to practice. You love to see it. And contrast,
was it like the first day of school? Did he have his little lunchbox with him?
Right. Contrast that with Evan Longoria, who I think is 37 years old, still playing baseball. He was last in the World Series with the Rays, like 13 years ago or something.
I'll say that had to be a long time ago.
But now he's back. So listen, lots of fun stories in the World Series. And the Phillies nor the Astros are in it. So listen.
What more could you ask for? I was so glad. First of all, I was kind of out of touch because we didn't have Wi-Fi down on the coast. So I wasn't really sure, but I came back and I saw that the, as I like to call them, the Rattlebacks were keeping up and were, beating the Phillies. And I thought, well, surely they won't. I mean, there's no way the Phillies are that good and they're going to end up in Philly.
Right.
But they persevered.
Listen,
I was here for it.
So that I keep saying snakes alive because they lost the first game in Arizona. They lost 2 games in Philly, and then they lost the first game in Arizona. And there was a guy in the stands at the second game in Arizona, and it was just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It looked like Cambria font, and it just said "Snakes Alive," and that was his sign. And the next night, like they showed him was on Well, the next night, everybody in the stadium had that sign in their seat when they got there.
Let's adopt it for the World Series, ma'am. Snakes alive. Snakes alive.
Yeah. So I'm excited. That's fine. And I like when Philly. I watched the first Rangers Astro game, and that didn't hurt my heart. I was fine to watch it. I turned on the first Phillies Snakes Alive game, and I couldn't do it. Like, once they started hitting dingers in Philly, I was like, I cannot watch it. I cannot. So I turned it off.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch again until last night. And I said, okay, good. I can tune in now to watch them get beat.
I know. I loved it. I loved it. I was so glad to see it.
Yeah. So, in other sporting news, I did watch a college football game this weekend. My friend Allison was here and she wanted to watch football, so we did.
I'm here for it.
We watched the Alabama. Who they play? I forgot.
Tennessee.
Yes.
They're low down. What is it? They're low down. They're snitches. They're something. There's a famous interview, and it's so cute. It's this Alabama fan talking about Tennessee and why they hate them, and it's because the color orange is like a pumpkin. and they're low down and they're snitches. I hate Philip Fulmer. He's a snitch. I'll find it and send it to you. It's so funny. But they put that on hats now and everything for the Tennessee game.
Well, so Allison was rooting for Tennessee, and I almost had to kick her out of my house.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's not allowed. No.
Neyland Stadium is the most uncomfortable place I've ever watched a football game in my life.
Well, I was just listening to last week's Big Boo podcast, and Melanie was at the Aggies Tennessee game the week before, and she was talking about apparently there's like a tunnel. It sounded like basically a tunnel to get to the seats. Anyway, it didn't sound.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's been 15, 18 years since I've been in Neyland Stadium. But what she did say on there, and what is so true, is that the seats are about as wide as one of my thighs. And I rubbed up against and had knees. I got to lean back on their knees, so they were very kind about it. I was surrounded by boys, and some were not ones that I wanted to be surrounded by. But they were all very nice. But like, we got to know each other real well.
Yeah.
It was not comfortable.
If you want to fit 100,000 people in there, I guess you got to squeeze them in.
I did get to see Kenny Rogers at halftime though, so that was. I mean, that was nice. He was about that big on the field, but
right,
we were there.
Gotta love some Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, it was good.
But yeah, so we watched that, and she was flipping back and forth between the Auburn and FSU game. So yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about it.
I mean, look, we love everybody still, so there's that.
Listen, I feel you.
It's terrible.
And then on Sunday, I watched some NFL football, which I have not done in a minute. Right? But I had my ears filled with Travis and Jason Kelce.
Yep.
For basically all my waking hours. Yep. Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
So I got real interested in the Chiefs and the Eagles.
It's all about the story. They suck you in with the story, and I'm sucked in.
So, and really, truly, and the Kelce documentary, if you watch that and seeing that, Jason lost the Super Bowl, and then decided to come back. And so now he's back. And so I kind of was like, well, let me see how they're doing. I don't even know how they're doing.
Yeah.
But, like, listen to it all. He came back because he thinks he can win it. Because they've got Jalen Hurts. And he, he thinks they can do it again. Is why he wouldn't have come back if they were,
And he now, you probably saw it. He now has the most starts of any Eagles player.
Yeah. And I started at the beginning and have been working my way to present time. And they kept talking about last year, he was gaining on that. And he was like, quit talking about it. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it, because I think the guy who he just beat, maybe the day he broke the record, he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And never played another down of football again.
You don't want to jinx
Jason's like, stop talking about it.
You know how we feel about jinxes on this podcast.
A little superstitious.
Just slightly.
But just in case anybody was wondering, Taylor was at the game. I don't know. They may have mentioned it once or twice.
Look, here's what I was so upset about was that Mahomes boy behind her. Like, who let him in?
You and the rest of the internet.
Oh my, he's terrible. He's a horrible human being.
Patrick Mahomes' brother, who has been in some legal trouble for not being a very nice person, was directly behind Tay in the suite at the game.
I'm surprised security let him through.
Well, and then so nobody could cover Travis Kelce. Like, that man,
he's so good.
I mean, it's like, what are y'all doing? And they double teamed him in the second half. So he didn't have quite the same second half. But I'm really looking forward. I really hope we get a Kelce Bowl redo.
Well, so for many reasons. First of all, because Kylie Kelce, my favorite Kelce, is not going to be pregnant, and she can really enjoy it.
Which, by the way,
I mean, could you imagine them in the suite together?
Oh my! Oh, so there was a guy that played for the Chiefs. He's the guy in the picture that's circulating of Taylor kissing
Yes.
Travis on the cheek. The
Yes.
guy that's in that picture with them
Yeah.
was with the Chiefs last year. He got traded to the Jets in the offseason and then is now back with the Chiefs. But his wife, he was with the Chiefs last season. His wife did give birth during the Super Bowl, but he was hurt, so he wasn't playing. But I was like, when
Lord.
I first saw that, they're like watching, like give. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, she
Hold
really
on.
did it. Nobody's
Yeah.
talking
I
about it,
love that.
but
I
he wasn't
love it.
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so the dream suite would be Mama Kelce, Taylor, and those little girls. Bennett, Wyatt, and Elliot. Could you and Kylie, could you imagine the cuteness that would come out of that?
No, and I said the other sort of thought I had about the whole Taylor Travis thing is watching Taylor and Brittany do their handshake.
I
I
know.
was really just sort of like, can we take it down just a
Just a
notch?
notch.
Just a
Because
notch.
she's not my favorite human either.
Brittany.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, Patrick loves her, obviously. So she can't be that bad because I love him. But, ooh, that brother's got to go.
but but just take it down
Yeah.
one notch.
Yeah.
But I often think the same thing about Travis. I'm
Yeah.
also sometimes
Right.
like, Travis,
Wardrobe choices.
right,
Yep.
can we just
Mm-hmm.
take it down just a,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
they appear to have that,
Yep.
that when they're on.
Yeah.
So I thought, well,
Yeah.
we
I mean,
understand each
hey,
other.
match, love match. Um, I also did you see the clip? I'm sure you did if you watched the game, the clip of her when he almost got hurt, when he got like crushed and she freaked out. I was like, girl, you better get used to that. He's gonna
Right.
get tackled.
Yeah. Well, he dropped the ball is what it was. And he
Yeah.
dropped the ball and then went
Yeah.
banged on
Yeah.
the grass and she was like, oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh. Oh.
So, but anyway.
I love it.
So yeah, so that was sort of that. My other thing I've had thoughts about this week, or Brittany,
Ooh.
our previous subject talking about conservatorships. Brittany has written a memoir.
She has indeed.
And apparently it came out yesterday. Do
Yep.
you know who is narrating Brett's book?
No.
Michelle Williams.
Like of
Like Dawson's Creek and Fosse. And she's won an Oscar for something
and
else.
she's reading the book.
Back Mountain, Michelle
Hey,
Williams.
friends.
I don't know. She's narrating the book. Isn't that interesting?
It
And apparently,
is.
people who were listening to the audiobook yesterday were like talking about how strange it is to hear
I would
some
have
of this
thought
stuff
that
in
she would
Michelle
have
Williams' voice.
wanted to do that herself, right? It's a very
Wow.
distinct accent that she has. I think it would be more.
Listen, I
Um,
think kudos to Brittany for
yeah,
having sense to hire Michelle Williams to read your book.
I as much as I've watched her on the Clock app and other places, I'm not sure it was her decision. I'm sure someone insisted.
I think she's playing, y'all. I think
Do
she's
you
playing.
think
I do.
all this like showing off her tattoos and almost showing her bits and bobs, you
Mm-hmm.
think is playing us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do. I think deep
Okay.
down that Britt is a really savvy businesswoman.
Well, she's definitely making some money. I think, obviously this is her side of a story, but I think if what I've heard is true about some people that I used to like very much and hopefully can continue to like that's coming out of the book, it explains a lot about um her problems and issues, and I feel I'm much more endeared to her than I was before.
Yeah.
I still want to put a some clothes on her
Well, yeah, you know.
because showing your bits and bobs is not exactly what I want to watch her do, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there we are. So
There we go.
what's been going on with you, ma'am?
Well, I finally got around to reset my table because I went, we talked about when I was in Macon, I went to Creeder's, my favorite store, and I love there's a company that has these paper placemats, and it's just me, and they can sit out forever because I don't use them like as placemats. So I buy them. Like I've got one set for Easter that I've had for 3 years so far. So, and I'm still not out. So I put out my fall ones with the deer on them, and I stack my plates all pretty. So I put out my dishes.
Let me just pause you for a second here.
Yeah.
Are you a person who has your table set all the time?
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a blank table, and
you don't ever like have your schoolwork piled up on it.
Oh, well, I moved the plates out of the way to pile things on, or to actually eat. Like I don't use the plates that I have out to eat off of. This is why I want to talk about it, because it sounds ridiculous to say, and I was like, well, we got to talk about that. So I have been blessed from every great grandmother and grandmother to have. I've got all these dishes. I have them all. I have both sides of the family, several sets. So I thought several years ago, I thought, why? I mean, there's just sitting in the closet. Why not pull them out? So right now I have my great grandmother's green willow. Everybody has the blue, but she has the green, which I love that it's a little bit different. So I've got the green willow, and then on top of that is a gold rimmed dessert plate from my grandmother that's very pretty, and then on top of that is my woodland spud, so it's very fallish in there right now.
And I like it.
And
as
then,
a person who doesn't even have a table,
right,
I'm just supremely impressed by this.
Well, I used to just have a bar stool. I had more room than you had at the cottage, but I didn't have like a kitchen table. I just had an island that I put stools under. So I used to only have 2 plates that I set. But I've got 4 now. Look at that. I've got a whole dining room. You can see the wood ceiling that it's under. And so I'm using the things. Now at Christmas, I will also add, I don't normally put glasses out there, but at Christmas, I will add my collection of the old Santa mugs. I've got some really old ones that have good patina on them and that are so cute. So
I love this. When my great aunt, Ollie was her name.
Love that.
Ollie lived in
Virginia. That's a great dog name.
Ollie lived in Virginia Highland before it was Virginia Highland.
Mm-hmm.
When her sister, my grandmother Gracie, got Alzheimer's in the early 80s, Ollie moved home from Atlanta to live with her sister, to help take care of her. And so I think Ollie passed away before Gracie. And so when we were moving Grandma Gracie into the memory care, we did a big estate sale. And I just had to have Ollie's china.
I love it.
I don't know why. But I think I was in the 7th grade, 6th grade. I had to have
that.
So my parents bought it for me. It had sat in several garages. And when my sister got married 2 years ago and sold her house, I finally said, you know what? It's time to let go of Ollie's china. I'm not ever going to, I live in 580 square feet and I don't have a table. So I let it go. But
I would have kept it for you.
Well, listen, as a person who has appreciated china from a young age, I love this. I think that's nice. And I have some friends who do that too, who set a table, but I'm like,
you don't have one. I get it.
Put all your stuff.
Yeah. So I also, for Christmas, I'm sure we'll talk about this again, but on my trip to Creeders, I found they had on sale. I did get a sale item and not a full price item. I'm so proud of myself. My new modern favorite China people, Jalaska, has a really pretty Christmas pattern that I have just 4 plates for the 4 table settings right here. But they had a mug with the reindeer on it. And so I'm going to drink my hot chocolate out of it at Christmas.
Now, at any point, will you have people over to eat on your china?
I have done that before.
I think we should make that a goal.
I think so.
I think we should
Let's
make
do
that
that.
a goal that you should have
Yep.
once a quarter.
Oh, okay.
You should have
I should
folks over to
put the
actually
Jesus books
enjoy,
down.
enjoy your
Enjoy
table
my
stove.
china. Yeah. I, we're explicit, so I can say this, but I love to call myself, which is so true. I'm a dish whore. I love dishes. They're pretty. I love stacking them and cord. I just love them. I just love it. So you're right. I should actually use them.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be good. Well, that's
There we go.
fun. Good.
Yep. So I reset my table this week. And I watched College Game Day ish, and I finally figured out why I don't like it. And it has to do with why we are doing what we do, is that there are no more stories on there. Every segment, every like 30-minute segment of College Game Day used to have a piece about a player.
Yeah.
And they have quit doing that. There may be one for the whole thing. Now they're just wrestlifying it, or whatever you called it. Wrestification or wrestleification. I don't know. Anyway, and Pat McAfee it to death. And they don't tell the stories anymore. So where I used to like get connection with these players and want to watch the games after I watch their stories, I don't get that anymore. And
Yeah.
so I really think that's why I'm not happy with it.
That's been one of the drawbacks of the new rules in baseball is that
Right.
because the games have moved so much more quickly,
Yeah.
all these great reporters who all these years have
Yeah.
been able to,
Yeah.
plug in stories during the game, they don't have any time to get their stories in.
So what I'm loving about baseball, which to me becomes the story, is when the Braves have like the old players on to commentate.
Yeah.
To me, that brings me just as much joy, because they become the story themselves with their
Right.
inappropriateness, which is always what I love, because we're explicit. So I think that's why I don't like College Game Day. I'm not like going to write them and tell them that or anything, but I just miss the stories of it. I mean, we've talked about the girl that they have on there doing the stupid food segments, not like good food segments, like dumb ones. And they've
And
just
that's the
filled it
problem.
with junk. Yeah.
Because, if anybody's ever going to put an Oreo on their head, it's going to be a boy, not a girl.
Not a
Why
girl.
don't they have those boys go do those stories?
Right. Exactly. So I did slow roasted tomatoes volume 2. And when your recipe says forget about them, it doesn't, I don't think, mean actually forget about them.
You can't.
They got a little
You
crunchy.
can't.
They got a little
Oh,
crunchy. Yeah. So I started over on batch 2B
there you
and
go.
did them again yesterday, and they're much better.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got a second batch, but I went back and looked at the recipe to make sure I was doing it on the right temperature. Like, did I put it too high in the oven or something? And it literally says in there, just forget about them. Put them in the oven and forget about them. And I went, nope, don't do that.
How long did you leave them in there?
Um, about 30 minutes too long. So maybe like the first batch did take about 4 hours, but this was about 3.5. I need to start. I set a timer for 2, and I went in there at 2 hours and looked, and then I did another hour, and it was good. So 3 was it depends on the size of the tomato.
This
These were
is
little, so there's some factors, but they need at least 2 hours,
yeah,
at least.
yeah.
So yeah, my note for this says, Mandee, you can't mess up slow roasted tomatoes. Katie, hold my beer. Because I messed up slow roasted tomatoes. And I feel like I have
And they're
violated.
like you could be like, they're more like a sun dried tomato, I would
No,
guess.
they were crispy. They weren't chewy.
Would they be good like on a salad to
They
add
were
like
I
okay.
I
All right.
tried it. I thought, well, I hate to waste food. I hate it. I hate to waste food. I don't want to do that, but I tried it. And some eggs. I scrambled some eggs. Nope.
Not happening, huh?
Nope.
Okay. All right, listen, live and learn. Live and
Nope.
learn.
Nope. 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 And then I saw on Amazon, they tease you all the time on all the apps with different things that they think you should buy. And most of the time, I'm like, I can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
However, a big moo house dress is very appealing to me.
Yeah.
And so they put one on there, which I highly recommend. That I bought. I worked a class the other day too, which was great. But it's Oxford cloth. And I went and put it in my to go hang it. And I went, why do I have 4, maybe 5? 5 Oxford cloth striped dresses.
I like Oxford cloth. As a
5.
person who doesn't own an iron,
Same.
I like Oxford cloth because it's a little easier, it's a little sturdier, it's a
Yep.
little doesn't wrinkle as easily.
100%. But like
Linen or Oxford cloth, because linen's supposed to be wrinkled.
yeah.
And Oxford cloth just wears a little easier. If you get in between that, you're in territory where you probably need an iron,
Yep.
and that ain't me.
And I iron my sewing. I don't iron my clothes, which is a whole nother. But I have red stripe Oxford cloth and blue stripe. I was like, what did I do? Why am I buying more Oxford cloth? But
I
I
don't
like the
see
dress so much. I think I want to go buy more. There's only $20 or something.
anything wrong with this.
Anyway, so my closet needs some diversity. And so I'm saving my dollars for some Farm Rio.
Okay. Well, that's fair. But also, let's think about like Ina Garten.
True. She has
Has
a
her
uniform.
uniform that she wears all the time. Like, find something that looks good on you. I guarantee you there's some lady your mom's age that you knew in Macon
Oh,
who basically
yeah.
always wore the same uniform.
Yeah.
And she looked good. So
Agreed.
I don't see anything wrong with your Oxford.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. Thank you, Mandy. This is why we do this. This is therapy for us.
For
And we
sure.
laugh a lot. And I will say I am gonna follow up on one more thing that's not on here. True South
Oh,
is
keep forgetting to watch it on Tuesday night.
oh my gosh. So there's a one more, I think. So I need to go back and watch that today. It is I appreciate Mandy turning me on to that. I already love John T. Edge and Wright Thompson very much. But I did not know that this medium existed, and it is so good.
I watched the Hot
Go.
Springs one.
Hot Spring. I want to go to Hot Springs so badly.
Who knew Hot Springs was so cool?
Yeah, let's go. I think that should be definitely one of our stops.
Yeah.
I really like Arkansas in general. I used to cover that for my old employer, the Lizard, who, by the way, I will just say we don't like to get to whatever on here, but in Macon, my friends in Macon, they laid off 2,000 people, and my heart is broken for a lot of my friends that are former employees of the Lizard, and I'm so sorry, and I'm thinking about y'all. I hope this podcast can bring you a little joy if you're listening. I think some of them are, but I just we love y'all, and the Lizard can go kick rocks.
Pound sand. Oh,
There we go. Yeah, 2,000 in one day.
Gosh, that's a lot of
brutal.
people in Macon, Georgia at one company.
They called it a bloodbath, is the text I kept getting. It's a bloodbath today. So it was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. Well, okay, on to better, more fun things that we can make them laugh about and talk about and enjoy. I love, Mandy, that you are getting us ready for Thanksgiving with your food choices today. So tell us all about what you found for us.
So I thought I would start with dessert, Thanksgiving desserts.
Love it.
So, a lot of people, have to have a pecan pie. A lot of people have to have a pumpkin pie. A lot of people have to have sweet potato pie, like pie. Love a good pie. at the Caldwell house. So but the way it works at the Caldwell house is we spent every Thanksgiving, basically maybe minus one or two, with my mom's parents, my Nanny and Pawpaw, who had a farm in Fitzgerald.
Say that again.
Nanny and Pawpaw.
Nanny. I love it.
Nanny and Pawpaw.
Nanny and Pawpaw. I love it.
Johnny Bell and Haynes. Moorhead. Thank you.
There is no more, you talk about me and my cemetery being the most Southern thing that talking about your nanny cutting onions and just saying her name is the most Southern thing that you talk about. It's my favorite.
By the way, my sister has told me that my accent on this podcast is much more pronounced than it is in real life. And she says it's because you are more Southern. So then I become more Southern in talking to you.
I think we ratchet each other up a little bit.
Probably. So anyway,
yeah.
Nanny Pawpaw lived in Fitzgerald. Pawpaw had a farm. And that's where we went every Thanksgiving. And Nanny cooked it all. Now, my mother will proudly tell you she was Betty Crocker Homemaker of Tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
The Atlanta Journal-Constitution came to Fitzgerald and did a whole piece on Jane Moorhead.
Stop it.
Listen, took pictures in Nanny's kitchen, whole 9 yards, because she was Betty Crocker Homemaker of Tomorrow. My mother does not.
Was there a sash? Did she get a sash?
There should have been. There should have been. Instead, there's just an AJC article. But my mother does not like to cook. Like, she cooked growing up, but it was like the same 4 meals in rotation. So Nanny basically did, and Mom would be there helping, and my mom can wash a dish. Now, let me assure you. So she would definitely be in there helping, but Nanny was basically doing all of Thanksgiving. And when we got there was always a pecan pie because my dad really liked pecan pie.
Yep.
But at some point,
good pecan pie.
So at some point, the mantle sort of shifted. I started helping, and I did help, and she would let me help cook. And then it just all sort of started shifting over so that all the responsibility was on me. And so at some point, I don't know if I saw it on the Pioneer Woman's blog back in the day, or if I saw it on Food Network or what.
I'm going to click on that link.
The pumpkin bread pudding that Bobby Flay, because Bobby Flay and the Pioneer Woman made it in one of those throwdown episodes. It became the must-have dessert for my family at Thanksgiving.
Ooh,
and and my sister typically, like, we'll eat it, and as she's eating her first piece, she's already asking me to please make another round.
I'm just looking at this list of
it is so good. So you make,
it's got 2 sauces basically,
and I skip the sauce. I only do the cream anglaise. I don't do the other one. Yeah,
I love a sauce.
So you make the pumpkin bread, you cube it up, you toast it, and then you set that aside. And then, so it makes this cream, you make a cream anglaise with vanilla beans.
Yes.
And then you make a pumpkin custard. Stop. Which, all of this sounds really intimidating. It's really not. It's fun. And I will also tell y'all that I recently heard Ina Garten say that if you don't want to make a cream anglaise, to just buy some Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream
and let it melt
down, and that can be your cream anglaise.
Yep.
I will say, having had both, I would recommend the cream anglaise. If you're gonna make it once a year at Thanksgiving, you gotta go all. But this, it really, confession time, I don't even like orange food. I don't like pumpkin.
You posted about that. Like, don't put pumpkin in my pasta. I love a ravioli with it.
Nope. No pumpkin. No sweet potatoes. Not having it. Thank you. Goodbye. And I'll eat them because I'm not 3.
Yeah. Right.
Except hot lettuce. I don't want any hot lettuce.
No, well, that's wrong. Or soggy bread, unless it's bread pudding, like wet bread.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. My mom and I both kind of have an aversion to wet bread. So we were sort of never been big bread pudding fans, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know why I decided to make this recipe. pumpkin bread pudding.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like anything about this. What am I doing? But I made it, and y'all, it is so good.
Okay.
It really is so good. Um, and it's, it's a multi-step process. So if you're gonna make it, like, go ahead and read the recipe. Like, you can make the creme anglaise a couple of days before.
Okay.
You can make the custard part, at least a day before, maybe two. And so that's typically what I do, depending on when I get to wherever the heck it is we're having Thanksgiving and I have to cook.
And that goes back to scheduling and what we talked about last week, which is making sure you have that list.
Yep.
And not just the list, like the timing of everything, like what day you're going to make what.
So I thought I'd eventually share all that
I
with y'all.
love that. Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait.
But yeah, so that's typically we now typically have Thanksgiving in Nashville. I at one point said something about we should go to New Orleans for Thanksgiving, like do a trip or something. And my 18-year-old nephew said, "It's looked at me like I was crazy." And I
I've
was like,
thought about it.
And he said, "We cannot be somewhere where you cannot cook on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
That is not the holiday on which we travel. We have to be somewhere where you can cook."
that is the sweetest, kindest, most Will Caldwell thing I have ever heard in my life. Sissy.
It pops up on my time hop every now and then that he walked into the Friday after Thanksgiving one year, walked in and he said, "Sis, I'm glad Thanksgiving's only once a year because otherwise I'd be obese."
I love it.
That child loves some Thanksgiving. So
I love it. I really want to share the cheese muffin thing because that's next week. But my grandmother did not make turkey at Thanksgiving. She had something else she made because she was a big on not repeating things, and we were about to have turkey at Christmas. So we did something else at Thanksgiving, and a month later we had turkey because she didn't want to have it twice.
That's so funny that she said you had to have it at Christmas and not Thanksgiving.
Not Thanksgiving.
Because we used to have the Thanksgiving meal. When Nanny was in charge, we had Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving and at Christmas. Yeah. I had the ixnay on having Thanksgiving on Christmas. That is too much.
Yeah.
But pumpkin bread pudding is one of our must-haves. And then so when I first moved to the beach, I wasn't going to practice law anymore. I was going to open some sort of food related business was my plan. And so in light of that, it all kind of life happens. And so that never happened. But my friend Sarah and I did like a cottage bakery, where you bake at your house and then you sell it via order. We had a farmer's market we would go to once a week. We had a business that we started right before Thanksgiving several years ago called Nosh. It was so cute. Or had a little logo that.
Love it. Are you still doing that? Okay.
But we did
advertise for you.
We had a great time. We had great, lots of orders for Thanksgiving. So Sarah did, she had a great apple pie. And then I did, again, the person who doesn't like orange food. Sarah did apple pie and pecan pie, and then I did a sweet potato pie. But let me tell y'all, it had a ginger snap crust, and then the sweet potato filling, and then the topping was like a combination of marshmallow fluff, and meringue.
Stop!
It was so good. Nobody in my family likes sweet potato pie, so I have quit making it since Nanny died because she's the only one that would eat it with me.
The ginger snap crust, was it like a vanilla wafer crust kind of thing? I knew it.
It was so good. But
I need that recipe, man.
It's one I made up, but I'll piece it together for you. I got it from several different locations.
Don't let any of it say put it in the oven and forget about it.
Mess it up.
Can't mess it up.
So, but I love a good pie.
Yeah.
And so you can start now making a pie crust.
Yes.
Because you can put those suckers in the freezer and then just pull them out like
Yeah.
the week of Thanksgiving and do the filling and all that. And my recommendation for the best pie crust, my recommendation for the best everything is always going to be Smitten
Smitten
Kitchen.
Kitchen is so good.
She is just no fail. She makes it as simple as she possibly can. So if it's a complicated order, you know that it's worth it at the end.
Yeah.
But so the one that's going to be linked in the show notes is her pie crust 102.
Mm-hmm.
She came in a year after she did pie crust 101 and
Oh yeah.
updated it to make it easier to
Yeah.
make complaints about stuff. But I just would highly recommend, if you're gonna make a pie, if you really want to show off, y'all, and if you're not gonna show off with your cooking at Thanksgiving, when are you gonna show off with your cooking? Go
Yes.
on and make the homemade pie crust.
So
And you can do it now. Like, go ahead and
yeah.
like make it now. And if it works, then you can throw it in the freezer. If it doesn't work, then no harm, no foul. You can just try again.
Yeah. So I will share with the world, man, I never like to make dough. I'm always afraid of dough. Like I'll make cakes, like I got a cake to make for Sunday for church and brownies, whatever. I'll do the homemade muffins, fine. But dough, especially yeasty dough, for some reason scares the crap out of me. We're explicit, so I can say crap. Mandee years ago gave me a Smitten Kitchen. Um, is it the same crust?
I don't know if the Guyette crust is exactly the same as the pie crust, but it's real similar.
It's very easy. I made it. I didn't screw it up. So if I can do it, who's deathly afraid and who usually cheats with pie crust, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I can definitely co-sign on that because Mandee gave me the courage.
There you go. So yeah. And I don't like what are your must-have desserts at Thanksgiving? Do y'all have any?
So this is gonna sound weird, but it's not orange, it's yellow. My aunt, who I adore, and I think today's her birthday. I need to text her. My dad's brother's wife makes a squash pie. And it's very similar to sweet potato and or pumpkin in the flavor profile, but it's just, I don't know, it's just better. And maybe it's because she makes it. So I love that. My favorite pies is a really, really good pecan pie. And the key is to add a little bit of vinegar. It cuts the sweet because, those things can be just, pucker sweet. But if you put a little bit of white vinegar in it, it is so much better, and I love it so much. I make my own whipped cream. Whipped cream's so easy to make your own, flavor it however you want. I make my own vanilla as well. If y'all have never done that, that's super easy. Maybe we can do a whole thing on like things you can make, because you can give that away too. Like we talked about the slow roasted tomatoes, you can give vanilla away. It's super easy.
Yeah, that's what I always do at Christmas, is I always do something that I've made.
Yeah, so I love that. So those are my favorite, but like I love a buttermilk pie. Oh gosh, I love a buttermilk pie. Um, my family I come from a long line of great cooks, which is why my waistline is so hard to control. There's a whole section. We have a family cookbook that I would love, happy to share the recipes with y'all, but those are probably my go-to for the holidays. My grandmother always had ambrosia, but I don't love coconut.
Papa loved ambrosia
Yeah,
now.
so she always had that.
Have you ever heard of a Japanese fruit pie?
I have not.
So Nani used to make a Japanese fruit pie, and we all thought we didn't like coconut either. But this pie, it's like a chocolate pie, and not like a cream pie.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a brownie
Yeah.
texture almost.
Yeah.
But it also has coconut in it, and it also has pecans in it. My sister never liked pecans, but we all love this pie, and we can't really find. My sister has found a recipe that is
This
as close
close.
to Nani's as we can get.
Yeah. So I love Samoas. So it's about the texture, like just a coconut cake with like raw coconut. I don't love. I love the flavor. I will eat the cake part that's soaked in the coconut milk, but I don't love the texture of raw coconut. So if it's cooked or if it's covered in caramel, I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah. Japanese fruit pie, it's good too.
Love that. Love that. You should write to Smitten Kitchen and ask her to find it.
I saw Smitten Kitchen one time
Stop.
in person.
You lucky duck.
They're in New York, and my friend Leslie always laughs at me because either she doesn't know the people who I think are celebrities, like they're soap opera stars. I think we talked about that, didn't we? They'll be soap opera famous. Yeah. Either she doesn't know who they are or she doesn't care. Like Leslie was the assistant to the secretary of the Smithsonian, and
Oh,
Oprah came in, and Leslie was just chill about it.
like
That's
I think she's I love the Smithsonian. Like we need
right.
to get
Yeah,
that hook
Leslie's a
up
celebrity.
because
Yeah.
I love a museum more than you do.
Yes, you do. But anyway, so Leslie is used to me freaking out as we
Yeah,
walk around New York,
yeah,
but quietly to her,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So we have been to dinner and we're walking back and we're in the West Village in Leslie's Hood and we're walking back and the Smitten Kitchen, Deb and her husband Alex, are sitting at an outdoor. It's like September.
yeah,
They're sitting at an outdoor table very close to the. It was in it. It could be enclosed in the
yeah.
weather, but they were at the very edge.
Yeah.
And I walked by and I was like, it's like that was the Smitten Kitchen, and she was like,
Who?
"What are you talking about?" But then she's like, "I think you need to go back and speak to her. I've never seen you quite like this." So I did. I turned and I walked
Good.
around and I said, Deb and Alex, I don't want to disturb your dinner, but I
Yeah.
just have to tell you, I am your biggest fan. There's not a holiday,
Yeah.
there's not a
Yep.
week that goes by that I don't make one of your recipes. I opened my own bakery and half the recipes were yours. So I just had to say thank you and I hope y'all have a lovely night. Goodbye.
I
And
love
she was
that.
like, oh, that's so nice. And good. But she was
Yep.
very nice. But anyway,
I
that's
love
like
that.
the biggest celebrity sighting in a long time.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
If I had been there, I would have fangirled with you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not been like, who the heck is that?
Leslie's like, she thinks it's great. She
Yep.
loves it.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, okay.
Okay. I met Oprah. Okay. That's like
Right.
no
Well,
one will ever top the fact that I've met Moses. I had lunch with Charlton Heston, just me and him. No one will ever top that.
oh, good.
The
Yeah. Oprah would top that.
yeah, Oprah trumps Moses. Yeah. Loud.
Well, is it time for your favorites,
It
Kate?
is. It is. So the first one, I don't know why I haven't brought this one to the forefront before. I love a female owned anything, and I love especially a black female owned business. And this girl, the company is called Estelle Colored Glass. And I will put the website in the show notes. You can buy it at high end stores all over the South. I don't know how far she extends out from there, but her grandmother's name was Estelle, and she was a glass blower in the Low Country. She's from South Carolina. And I have found it live and in person at Two Friends on St. Simon's. So, Birch, go buy you some Estelle. I'm sure she knows about it. They have it on the bubble bar side. So but it is just the most beautiful. I said I'm a dish whore. I'm also a glass whore. They're the most beautiful highball, wine, champagne. She also has decanters, cake plates. They are nice pieces. Like, I've given them. I don't even own any of my own. I have always bought for other people. But they make great wedding gifts. They make great housewarming gifts. I have given Christmas. They're just beautiful, simple pieces. They come in so many pretty colors. Right now, she's got like this iridescent glass that is just gorgeous. She's got them that are lighter where you can like see through them. She's got darker glass. There's a real pretty fuchsia. They're gorgeous. So if you've got and I like a gift registry for like a bride or something like that, but I also like to find different things that they'll go, oh, I remember Katie gave me that. And just know the thought and the love that I had for them at that time, because they're just beautiful pieces. So I highly recommend, if you can find it locally all over the South, Estelle colored glass. You can also order it. I would be terribly nervous. I'm sure they package it very well, but I have met the FedEx and the UPS and the post office people, and I don't trust them to deliver glass.
FedEx guy is my nemesis.
Look, he would bust it. But go online and just look around. It's just fun to look. It's a beautiful business. She's a wonderful entrepreneur. And I just love finding businesses like that and promoting them anyway, but this just happens to be something I'll just love. So maybe for my Christmas present to myself, I might get myself some Estelle colored glass. So go check them out. My next favorite thing is fall. I'm loving this weather. I don't know if you even get a fall down there, or if winter is your fall.
Like we had a couple of days where it was like in the 50s, but we're back to highs in the low to mid 80s.
Oh yeah, no, we're in the 70s. We're in the 50s at night. The leaves are changing. I'm up in the foothills, so it's so pretty. I just love this time of year, and not just about football. I do love football as well. But it is just so nice. It's one of the few times of the year in the South. Man, he's having some technical difficulties. So one of the few times of the year in the South that you can sit outside comfortably. And so the golden hour is beautiful. I love to pour myself a glass of wine during the golden hour and have a nice snack.
We do have the most beautiful epic sunsets in the fall.
So that's yep. Like this morning I woke up and the sky was pink. It was just gorgeous. So I'm loving fall. I'm just loving this time of year. And
no, I do love the fact that it's no longer feels like 106 at 6:30 in the morning. So to the extent that counts as fall, yes, indeed, I do love that. And also there are 111 people.
Which is, this is the time of year I should come visit you, because this is when I like to be at the beach, when nobody else is there. I don't like the summer. This is my time. So the other thing that I have found is that I've forgotten how much I love a prank.
We're gonna have to diverge on this too, I'm afraid. But keep going. Talk to me about it.
It started when I was younger, and I used to, back before they made a bunch of rules about camp and they took all the fun out, we used to pull pranks on each other every summer. I mean, the dumb ones, like going to buy 1,000 crickets and put in the boys' bathroom, or putting saran wrap over their toilets, or Vaseline on the handles, or planting trees in their sinks, or taking everything out of the director's cabin and putting it on the roof. Just crazy stuff. Nothing harmful or that would break anything, just fun. And this week, and I can't go too much into it, but someone really got me. And I forgot how much I just love it. So I've got that person back, and I've got the long game for another prank for that particular human that they don't have any idea, but I'm gonna do it.
That's good.
Yeah. But I think it's because I love a challenge. I love a competition. I don't want to be beat. Like it motivates me. When they pulled the initial prank, I was like, oh, you can't beat me. And so I think it goes back to that real competitive side that I have.
Which would make sense as to why I don't like it.
Right.
Because I don't ever like to be like, and when I was a child, when I tell you I had no sense of humor, I mean, I had no
What
sense of
happened? You have
humor.
a great one now.
It is not funny. Do not laugh at me.
Well,
No
this was like a
sense of humor.
slow. So it was a long haul burn, and I finally realized what was happening, and I was astonished and mad as hell all at the same time, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, see, no, I would be like, oh no, no, no.
Oh yeah, you got to really know the person to do it, but it was good. So I've got
Yeah,
lots of things in the works, and so
okay,
some of which I may need your help with, Mandee. So
okay.
um, we'll see, but it's fun. It's fun. I forgot how much I like that. So if that's your thing, and you haven't done it in a while because you're a full grown adult, do it.
That's what I used to love when people turned 40. When I don't know how it was in Macon when you were growing up, but when we were growing up, if somebody turned 40, then, somewhere between their house and their work or
Yep.
school was a big sign,
Yep.
Lordy, Lordy, Jane's 40.
Yep.
That
My
kind of
parents' Sunday
stuff.
school class used to pass around a flock of pink flamingos. Like I
Yes.
went with them like in the middle of the night with a child to flamingo people's houses.
Yeah. See, now that's fun. But then I also would have gotten nervous if I was the one doing the flamingoing because I was breaking a rule and I don't
Uh,
like to break rules.
yeah. If
I'm
it's not,
lame.
I would
I'm
never do anything
lame is
to.
what I'm saying. Lame.
Well, I would never do anything to destroy property. I would never do anything to intentionally hurt someone's feelings like that. If that happened, I would be like, "Ooh." I mean, that's not my style, but just a fun.
Yeah. That I can get
I'm down
behind.
for it. Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
can get behind.
Oh yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to bring to the forefront is one of my favorite things is I'm having Harry Potter week.
Nice.
I don't do scary things
Yeah, me
because
either.
they show up in my dreams and then I get scared in the middle of the night and I can't sleep. And I'm at the age where sleep is an absolute must.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anything I can do to help myself sleep and not hurt my sleep is what I'm going to do. So I've been a Harry Potter fan since the books came out. My sweet little cousin, who's 10 years younger than I am, back in the day, gave me the first book. And the first time I started reading it, I was so confused. I was like, what's a muggle? I don't get it.
Right.
But after I watched the first movie, I got it
Oh, you
because
didn't get it. You had to wait for the movie to get
I
it?
visually could see it. I'm a visual person. And so once I saw the movie, I was like, I get it now. And so then I read every single book back to back. My fella at the time said, hey, it's like you're reading the encyclopedia. What are you reading? Because they're like 800 pages. But I love Harry Potter. I'm unfortunately, but correctly, I'm a Hufflepuff. Everybody wants to be a Gryffindor. I'm a Hufflepuff.
I was just listening to Shocker, the Kelce podcast, New Heights.
New
Uh,
Heights.
and they had somebody wrote in and said, which NFL players are in which Harry Potter house?
Love it.
Because Jason Kelce also loves Harry Potter.
Yes, he does. He does.
He asked Travis, he said, well, Travis, do you know which house Harry Potter was in? And Travis said, the Magic House.
I love it.
But he got
Oh,
somebody in the next week, somebody wrote in and said that Jason was a Hufflepuff, and you want to talk about pissed off. He was so offended.
well, I was kind of offended, but I've taken it twice now just to make sure because I was offended the first time. I don't know what part of my answer is Hufflepuff, but I'm a Hufflepuff.
That's so funny. I can't remember. I've done it, but I don't remember.
So because I don't like scary, I mean, even the commercials right now are scaring the crap out of me, and I'm tired of it, and I hate them, and I watch commercials through my fingers. So I do Harry Potter instead.
And that's fine. You can do Harry
Yep.
Potter
And Hocus
up
Pocus.
until it gets a little scary. Those last two
Yeah,
movies.
I have to watch those during the day. I can't watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um,
But no, there's nothing more
yeah,
I love than
a
what
good story.
that first movie when he's first getting to Hogwarts. And yeah,
Well,
I love that.
in the very first scene,
Of every movie is my favorite.
Yeah. So the
The
very
very
first
first
scene.
scene of every
Yep.
movie. That's my favorite.
So in the first scene of the first movie, Dumbledore uses the Deluminator that he
Yep.
then later, you don't see it the whole rest of the time until he
Yep.
gives it to Ron Weasley after he dies. It's just spoiler alert, Dumbledore dies. It's so good. I asked my nephew one time if he liked Harry Potter because I thought we could chat about it, and he's very literal, like a couple other people in my life, and he's very like black and white and literal, and he looked at me like I had grown a horn out of the top of my head, and he was like, "No, it's about magic," and I'm like, "It's not just about magic." Although I want a wand.
Right?
He was like, "What is wrong with you?" Because he was born an 85-year-old man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so it's Harry Potter week, so I'm loving it. I'm loving
I
it.
like that.
I made it through 2, but I had to stop because I had baseball to watch. So
Right.
today is going to be 3 and maybe 4. We'll see if I can get 2 in today.
Do it. It's funny. I almost turned it on after the Kelce brothers were talking about it.
Yeah.
On those podcasts I was listening to. I was like, well,
Yeah.
I need to watch tell Harry.
Well, and so that's my favorites. I hope you
Those were
enjoy my
great.
favorites. But
Those were great.
to try to transition to what we're going to be talking about next week, and scary things, Halloween's coming up, but Halloween is my favorite holiday for one reason. I don't have kids. I was not able to have children. And Halloween is the only day that I can sit still on a porch with a bowl of candy and cute babies come to me. And I love it. I love handing out
That's fun.
candy.
That's a
My
nice.
friend lets me come to her house and we sit on the porch and we throw candy at children and we go, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute."
What's that road in
Great.
Macon where they bring trailer loads full of children to trick or treat?
Ridge Avenue.
Ridge,
Ridge
yes.
Avenue. Yep. So they block the street off and you can walk up and down. That is too many people for me. So I don't people that much.
Yeah.
So her house is perfect. So I just sit on the porch. We may or may not have an adult beverage, and we order appetizers, and we drink our adult beverage and eat our appetizers and watch the cute little children come to us for
I
candy.
love that
And we
perspective on
make them
Halloween.
twirl. It's great.
I
It's
like that.
great.
Yeah.
And she is also a foster mom, and she's got a new foster baby, and she's got 2 little toofies on the bottom, and I cannot wait to meet her. So
Fun.
yeah, so I'm real excited about Halloween, and it's the only one of the few days that the tiara is not implied, so that will be broken out as well. So I'll take my tiara over there.
So Halloween's on Tuesday.
Yep. And I spend the night there because I have a cemetery here and I just don't want to be here.
Okay.
Because I have a cemetery.
Miss Jenny has a meet and greet tomorrow.
Yay.
Hope is if it goes well, she will go home with said meet and greet people.
Do they have other dog, or do they meet the requirements that you were hoping for?
They have another dog, and her name, she's a Weimaraner. Her name is Madonna, because of course it is.
Jenny and Madonna. Will they rename her something like, I don't know, Cher?
I don't ask that. I was like, well, they didn't rename Madonna. Why would they rename Jenny?
I love
They had, and Betsy, when she was telling me about Madonna, she said, now in fairness, they didn't name Madonna. However, they did name their previous wine Billy Bob.
I think that sounds like the perfect place for Jenny.
Listen,
they have standing up and stretching now. What is she doing?
So they have 10 acres, 3 of which are fenced in.
Look at that.
And I had a phone conversation with them last week and really liked them.
Good.
So they are driving over here tomorrow, and we're gonna borrow Susie's backyard. And so they can, Madonna and Jenny can meet and be off leash. She is just rolling around over here.
Yeah, she's a big girl. She's very tall.
She went and had a spa day this morning.
Love
so
it.
She's all clean and fresh and ready to roll. So
I cannot wait to hear.
Fingers
Um,
crossed.
I
And then,
didn't even mention Auburn football because it's so sad, but we actually have a chance to win this weekend.
oh, who
We're
are y'all
playing
playing?
Mississippi State, so
Okay.
it's also Georgia Florida weekend, so that should be fun.
I knew that. So I have to tell you, I have to give a shout out to my friend Casey, who also lives in
Casey,
St.
hey
Simons.
Casey,
Casey makes beautiful cookies. Casey
okay,
Mo Cookies. You can
love
follow
it.
her on Instagram.
We will give me
And
her put her information in the notes, and
I will
we'll
do it.
add it.
I will do it. She of course is very busy before Georgia, Florida.
I'm sure that place is,
Um,
talk about the fall and not wanting to go somewhere. Katie
right.
Griffiths does not want to be in St. Simons this weekend.
And to top it off, Casey's a big Georgia Tech fan.
Oh,
So for her to have to make all these cookies
yep,
is a real sacrifice of love.
yep,
But so she's, started, obviously when you have so many orders, you have to start early. And so she started, I think it was last weekend.
yeah.
It might have been last week sometime. Anyway, she went back and listened to all the podcast episodes, like
That is
in
the
a row.
sweetest thing I've ever heard.
And she said that it was so great. It was just like having us sitting there chatting with
I
her while
love
she
it.
was working.
Which is
So
what we want. That's what we're hoping for. I've got several.
exactly,
I've got a. Okay, I'm gonna cuss. Are you ready for this?
I can handle it.
So my St. Simon's girlfriends on here, you have one fun name for yours. So mine is Cheers Bitches, because when we have wine, we cheers
Yeah.
bitches.
Well, my St. Simon's thread is just the peaches.
Okay, well, we're cheers bitches.
My
So
multi
maybe we
thread is
should
the
get the
fun one.
cheers bitches and the
And the
peaches
peaches together.
together. I
Yeah,
bet they know each other.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, so we should have a St. Simon's
Um,
soiree.
and I also may have had a text from our friend Brooker.
Really? We need to
I,
have her on. We
we
say that
do.
every week, but we need to set that up. So we'll work on that after.
I thought maybe we would have her, maybe if we were going to do some sort of gift guides, maybe
Yeah.
she
Oh,
could
she'd be
do some
great.
kid gift guides
Yes.
for us.
She's the only one of us, of the three of us with children. I think
Right?
that sounds great.
Oh, that'd
We
be a
should
good
do
idea.
that. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Because I'm sure she has spare time with her three children and her
And
full-time job
her high
and her
powered
husband.
husband and
Yeah.
her high powered job. And I stayed with them when I traveled for Geico one time, and it was just like stepping back into our old selves. It was beautiful. And her husband is real sweet. I love her husband. She snagged her a cute little younger man, and he, whenever we're in the same room together, he's like, "What is
What
this?
has happened?
What
Poor
has
boy's,
happened to
poor
her?"
boy's from Wisconsin. He didn't
Yeah,
know what hit
he
him.
doesn't know. He had no clue.
Oh,
But anyway, so they're I always love anytime I can get with Brooker, so we need to make that happen. And
for
I
sure.
think a trip to St. Simon sounds like a plan. Mine
I'm
were
always
asking me the other day when I
I'm
was
always
coming
down for
back, and
that.
I said, I don't know. So we'll figure that out too.
I'm
Any
always down
other
for that.
ideas that y'all have, please let us know.
For
Please.
sure.
Yep.
For sure.
All
All
right,
right, friends.
Mandy. Look, we came in on two wheels, but we did all right today, I think.
We did. We
Some
did.
good things. I'm telling y'all, all you St. Simon's people go, I'm sure you go to Two Friends anyway, but go to Two Friends, go to the bubble bar side, and look at the pretty Estelle glass. Estelle colored glass, my favorite.
All right. Have a good week, y'all. We
All
love you, Brooker.
right. Love you, Brooker.